Hey guys, today we're going to be jumping into a top 10 characters in Dragon Ball Legends video. This is going to be the June 2024 version. We probably will have multiple June 2024 versions because I'm probably going to do another one of these once the part 2 character or characters drop for the 6th anniversary here. But if you guys are new to watching these sort of like ranking videos, I always like to go through 3 things before I jump into my rankings. Number 1, all characters are considered to be at 14 stars, best teams, best equips, everything, best possible situation. That's how I experience the characters, and that's the only way I think is the fairest way to judge them at max potential for every character. Second thing, I like to view this top 10 rankings as a top 10 best position in the meta rankings, or how valuable each character is in the current meta environment. Not necessarily who the best characters are in a vacuum, just looking at who has the best kit compared to each other. It's which characters are going to perform the best or, provide the most value in the current meta environment. And then number 3, of course, these rankings in this list are created based off of my own experience using the characters and playing against the characters. So my experience might differ heavily from yours. If that's the case, then that's fine. I would like to hear what you guys think of the rankings after you've watched the video in the comments below, so let me know what you think. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into the top 10. I think for this video, though, I'm going to actually start off with some honorable mentions, which I don't typically do, but I think there's actually a lot of viable characters right now, and I think it would make sense to at least mention some of the ones that did not make the top 10 lists, the top 10 spots on this list. All right, so I have 3 honorable mention characters here. The first one's going to be Goku and Bardock. The second one is going to be Yamcha, and then the last character is Green Fury Broly. Not really in any particular order. I just kind of put these 3 characters on here. These were 3 characters that I was heavily considering putting at the number 10 spot. But I think they just would fall short. Just to quickly go through the reasoning, Goku and Bardock, I think they're obviously still very good, and I think Indestructible actually gained some value from the release of the 6th anniversary characters. Pretty good mechanic to, I guess, not deter Vegito, but to at least, not be subject to being nullified by Vegito's Rising or stuff like that. The only reason why I have them in honorable mentions and not in the top 10 right now is because I feel like they've been kicked off of most of their best teams by Goku and Vegeta and Goku and Vegeta. This is a character that you would use on Sun Family or just the straight up Saiyan team. And unfortunately, this is an issue we've seen pretty much since the Legends Fest celebration, where they just continue to give us Sun Family character after Sun Family character after Sun Family character. And it gets to a point where the main team of Sun Family characters now have just evolved past this character being core on the team. So that's the main reason why they're not going to reach the actual top 10 rankings on my list today, but they're still a very competent and great unit. I just think there's better options for their teams, and for that reason I have them honorable mentions here. Now, there's something else I do want to mention as well, is I am making this list a bit earlier than I normally do, just because I think there's been so much requests that I've been receiving to get this list out, so I am making this a bit prematurely almost. I typically like to do my God rank grind with these, the new characters to get a feel as to how they perform, as well as to how the meta is right now. So this is a bit earlier than I typically release the top 10 rankings for, but I think I have a pretty good idea as to the meta. But in terms of sort of more niche characters like Yamcha, I actually have not had a chance to test how Yamcha performs in this meta. I have not used him. I have not really fought anybody using Yamcha. So I don't really have direct experience with Yamcha and how he interacts with a lot of the new characters, but just from my experience using Yamcha prior to the anniversary celebration, I really do like this character a lot, and I feel like he actually does have a lot of value right now. He also has Endurance Nullification on Rising Rush because it's built into his kit when the enemy has 3 characters left, or it's like the beginning of a fight. He has double card rush speed. He can get covered with the green card. He has really, really good death buffs. The problem with Yamcha, I feel like, in terms of his... he's fallen a little bit from the last list that I made. And the reason why is because I feel like it's just become less and less favorable to put him on to leader slots for teams, because the main issue with Yamcha is just his lack of tags, right? He's only on Super Warrior, basically. I think that's actually his only tag, Super Warrior. And Saiyan Saga is his episode, yeah. So it becomes really tough to put Yamcha on the leader slot for just a random team, because how competitive and it's just very, very tough to make the cut for some of these teams, especially now with all these fusing characters they have the guaranteed full heal, and they provide so much benefits to the teams that they're on that I feel like Yamcha, you could probably just put him on like Fusion Warriors in the leader slot, but it's a very competitive slot. Like it's hard to slide him in there. So I think he's very good still, but it's a bit tough to get him onto teams. And then last we have Green Fury Broly. This is one of the new 6th anniversary characters. I think for a 1% sparking, he's actually really well designed. I really like the way that they gave him a lot of value in what he wants to achieve. He feels very thematically like what Broly should feel like. And I don't really have many qualms with this character. It's just he has no innate card draw speed, which hurts. And his cover nullification is special cover nullification is very, very limited. I think he only gets 5 counts of special cover change nullification upon entry. So, you know, you're able to chain together like green cards into type neutral abilities, but it becomes tough to be able to do that and string together these long combos, which is what Broly wants to do because he's gaining damage and he's also stacking up his sustained damage cut penetration from his strike cards. It's tough to do that and accumulate all the damage that you want to when you don't have special cover change nullification. So he is a bit inconsistent in that regard, but he does hit very, very hard, and I feel like he's a pretty decent inclusion on like a powerful opponent setup or something like that. So I'm going to put him in honorable mentions here. I just don't think he has the premium tools that a lot of these other top 10 characters have that we're going to talk about to warrant a position on the top 10 list for me. So these are the honorable mentions. Let's go ahead and jump into the list itself. Okay, so coming in at number 10 and number 9, I have this as a sort of shared position on the list. I didn't really know who to put at 10, who to put at 9, but I feel like there's a pretty solid argument you could make for both of these characters at either one of these positions here. So we have the GT Universal Spirit Bomb Goku, and we have reviving Pikkon into Super Gogeta. I think is a very obvious argument for Pikkon to be on this list now. I don't think I included him on the past few top 10 lists, but obviously with us getting 2 very, very strong Fusion Warrior characters during the part 1 of the 6th anniversary, Pikkon does fulfill a pretty decent role as a third option for the Fusion Warrior team. I believe the video that I have going up today, a little bit earlier than this one, does have Pikkon on Fusion Warriors, and then it's just him next to the 2 6th anniversary units, Gogeta Blue and Super Vegito. Pikkon does fulfill a decent role there. He has Revival, which, I mean, Super Vegito definitely can punish you for having a Revival character, but having a Revival character and having, you know, a way to survive the Rising Rush is much better than just straight up dying to a Rising Rush from him. So in that regard, Pikkon's Revive does have a lot of value. I think purple characters have... you could argue they've been hurt a little bit by Gogeta's really. We'll get to Gogeta later in this list. But I definitely think, you know, his ability to support as well definitely helps him as well in his role as like the third character on a Fusion Warrior team. I am a bit probably less optimistic about Pikkon's future, I guess, longevity when it comes to his position on the Fusion Warrior team. Obviously, Revive is really, really good. The only problem that I have with him, though, is it takes just a long time to get his gauge filled up. And for that reason, you know, the team heal and the support are both dependent upon the gauge filling up. And as we get stronger and stronger characters, it's going to get harder to guarantee that that gauge fills up. I've had a lot of fights where I just don't have the means to have it, you know, filled up because I have to sack him off or whatever the situation is. So I really do like Pikkon as a character. I think the Super Gogeta side still can do decent damage. Super Gogeta having a range blue that nullifies endurance is really strong as well. So I don't really have too many complaints about Pikkon. He's a pretty good green card generator as well. It's just he has like a pretty standard spot on Fusion Warriors as like a third supporting role character that has okay disrupt, and he's kind of just a solid unit. That's all around what I can say about him. And I think GT Goku is kind of in a similar spot too. GT Goku is a really strong character that is one of the only characters still that actually can tank. We've seen a slight evolution in the meta, starting with the 6th anniversary here, that we've sort of gone away from like super mega long combos. Reverse of that. We've gone from a meta that is more so determined upon getting hit really, really hard in like a few hits to a meta of decently long combos. If you guys have fought against the 6th anniversary fusions, you know, the pre-fused versions, and even potentially the fused versions, but the Goku and Vegeta side of those characters, they combo for a long time. They're hitting you with like 6, 7, 8, 9 arts cards in a combo. And for that reason, we're able to take advantage of GT Kid Goku's healing And I feel like another strong reason why I would have Kid Goku in the 9 or 10 slot here, he's a really good character to be used against Vegito, because Vegito can Rising Rush this character, and you can't guess him. But remember, Goku removes enemies' endurance nullification effects when they activate Rising Rush, so Goku actually could survive Vegito's Rising Rush, which I think is pretty important. I think I just like Kid Goku as like a solid inclusion on like pretty much any Saiyan team, Sun Family team. He's pretty decent on GT, of course. GT is still a viable team. I think GT's been a little hurt by the 6th anniversary characters. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I don't really see much of an argument to have GT Goku or Pikkon really like out of the top 10. I don't really know. I think if you had to ask me which one I think I like better right now, I would just say Pikkon, solely due to the Fusion Warrior team right now being really strong, especially with all the HP that you can have. I think my Pikkon on the team that I used with the Fusion Warrior build earlier was like 4 million health or something. 4 million health. So pretty strong character. Disrupt. GT Goku kind of similar. He can fulfill a decent role as a finisher when you can remove your opponent to vanish as the last man standing. And overall, just like one of the only characters that actually can tank right now. So number 10, number 9 on the list, we have GT Spirit Bomb Goku, and we have reviving Pikkon into Super Gogeta. Let's move on to number 8. Coming in at number 8 is going to be Nappa, who revives into Vegeta from the Saiyan Saga. I think this character is a very solid unit. Nothing really too oppressive about them. I think I actually have them a bit lower on this list than I did in the list prior, and the main reason why is just because there's now 2 characters on the list that are pushing him down a few slots. I don't really think this character has lost or gained any value like tremendously since the last list. I think he's just overall a very solid character. He's a safe inclusion on any of the teams he fits on. You know, you got Saiyans, powerful opponent, Frieza Force. Overall, just a good unit. I think if there's one thing you can say about him, he maybe lost a little bit of value in the fact that when you have a Saiyan team, you have a few more options to consider when building it. I mean, you have the 2 fusion characters now. You, of course, have Ultra UI Goku. You have, like, potentially Baby is a Saiyan as well. So there's a lot of, you know, just straight up really strong Saiyan characters that you want to include on this team. And maybe, you know, maybe Nappa doesn't make the cut anymore. But I think, again, you can never really go wrong with this character. I think his ability to draw a million greens with his main ability, he has an early main ability too, a lot of stop time abilities, double stop time with the main into green. Unfortunately, he doesn't provide any support, which I think would have definitely helped his case to be ranked a bit higher on this list. However, I do think that Nappa and Vegeta is probably going to age better than maybe a lot of the characters on here, just because of how good both of their forms are. Nappa, as like a pre-revival state of a character, is a very capable character by himself, and I would say he's probably more capable than a lot of the other like pre-revival characters that we've seen. Just a really tanky character. You can build him that way, especially on a team that has like other Saiyan Saga characters. If you can get away with it, like maybe Yamcha or something, you can gain access to some crazy equipment to boost his defenses. And it really does become an issue when you can't really kill the first life of a revival character. I guess something else you could mention in terms of him losing some value is Super Vegito potentially gaining damage and Dragon Balls from killing this guy's first life. But again, I don't really think that's that big of an issue. And on the other side of that, you can kind of make it into a positive that at least he's going to live the Super Vegito Rising Rush, because there are so many characters. Like 99% of the game dies to a Super Vegito Rising Rush, and yes, Super Vegito gets buffs for, you know, defeating the first life of a revival character, but at least the revival character is still alive. So I think there is actually some innate value in that. But I feel comfortable with Nappa and Vegeta being at number 8 on the list. Again, these slots are not like definitive. You can slide them up or down a slot or 2 or something. It's fine. But yeah, Nappa, Vegeta, number 8. Let's move on to number 7. All right, number 7, we have Super 17. I think this is the first character on the list that I would say there is a pretty significant change from the prior list. I think he probably was at least top 4 on the other list that I made, so he did fall a few slots here. Main reason is just because this guy basically is powerless in the face of Super Vegito. And I don't mean just the Fuse version. Like, you use this character against the Goku and Vegeta side of that character, and he's not doing very much. He really isn't. And I think at this point, at least in my experience, again, I am making this video a bit earlier than I normally do. I am currently God rank just because I've recorded so many videos this season that I don't even technically need to do a God rank grind. But based off of my experience in playing as many PvP matches as I have this season, I would say that very, very easily Super Vegito is the most common character, which makes sense. Headliner of the sixth anniversary with Gogeta Blue. I would say Super Vegito is even more so than Gogeta Blue, easily a more common character to encounter, at least in my experience. And with that in mind, it just becomes a lot more tough to utilize this character. This is the only red character on this list. I mean, he's still very good, of course. You can still solo teams with this character, right? If your opponent is going to, tap attack you or something and you absorb the tap attack or the blast or whatever, you can definitely make things happen. He still hits very, very hard. Remember, he's stacking damage whenever he fills the gauge up. There's a lot of ways that we can praise this character. I just don't really feel that this guy has the same amount of impact that he did just, 2 weeks ago before the anniversary started. That Super Vegito character is just very, very easily able to wall this character off. And I think even more so than just them having straight up type advantage against this character, the more impressive thing to me in Goku and Vegeta's / Super Vegito's ability to fend this guy off is the fact that they are mostly going to be immune to the health debuffs. This character inflicting the Super Vegeta, not just Super Vegeta, but this character inflicting all those health debuffs every time he hits the enemy with a blast card, that was one of the reasons why it was so difficult to come back from just taking combos from this character. The fact that Super Vegeta does not care about that, and the fact that he can just very quickly heal all the damage back up, it means that you don't really have to care about this guy's combos with Super Vegito on your team. And when Super Vegito is the most common character that I'm seeing right now, it definitely does hurt this guy in terms of viability, but there are definitely still, situations where the opponent maybe can't switch into Super Vegito and this guy can just quickly kill somebody with a few blasts. That's definitely a thing that you can do. So I'm not completely writing this character off. He's still 7 on the list, but certainly not as much value as he had prior to the start of the 6th anniversary. So Super 17 is going to come in at number 7. Let's move on to number 6. All right, so coming in at number 6, we have LF Super Baby 2. This character, I think, definitely has been aging pretty well so far. We'll see if that continues as we move forward here. One of the main reasons why he's high up on this list is just because there are very few scary red units. Super 17, we just talked about him. I would say that overall, my experience in how many times I actually encounter somebody using Super 17 has significantly fallen. People are just not, I guess, feeling as comfortable using him when a mega powerful blue character now exists who's pretty much able to wall him off. So that plus the fact that, when you don't have type advantage against this character and you can't do just like chunks and chunks of his health pool per arts card, it becomes very tough to deal with this guy because he's destroying your entire hand. He's locking your main, he's removing your vanish, and he's drawing these cards that are able to obscure your hand. He's getting vanish back. This character is really powerful. So, I mean, it's a pretty obvious reason why I have him so high up on this list. I think a lot of people recently have begun to notice that this guy can become pretty devastating. I think a lot of the reason why people really didn't see this guy as much of a threat up until this point, I think I've mentioned this in the prior few lists as well, is just the fact that not a lot of people summon for this guy. And this is a character that has one of these gauges where it just gets better and better the higher the star of the character is because they're able to tank hits better. Right, the most important resource this character has is his health pool. If his health pool is low, you can't leverage the unique gauge, you can't activate his abilities, and at that point he's essentially a dead character. Thankfully, they did give him a lot of healing in his kit. I believe he heals whenever he switches into the battlefield. He heals with his main ability. You have characters that you can use him alongside, such as other regen characters that can assist with his healing. So it's really important to make sure that you are actively managing his health pool so that you can leverage the unique gauge. Which is the entire point behind the character. So I have had pretty good experiences using this character in this meta. I've used him in a few videos so far, and still really haven't encountered a ton of people using Baby. I think the reasoning, again, is just because many people didn't summon for him when his banner first released, just because of how dominant Super 17 was at that point, and people probably just felt it wasn't worth it. But I guarantee you, if this guy is brought back anytime soon, and I think he probably will he be on the part 2 banner? Maybe, because they brought Super Vegeta back already, and this guy was the next LF to release after Super Vegeta. I could definitely see them bringing back Ultra Gohan before the part 2 character, and then maybe they bring back Super Baby 2 on the part 2 character banner if they want to actually make it decently enticing. But this guy, I think, when they bring him back for the first time and people start summoning for him and getting him started up, they'll notice how good he is. But I don't really have much I don't have many negative things to say about Super Baby 2. He's just an all-around very strong, very solid character that is in a pretty good situation right now in terms of there not being super mega dominant red characters. So number 6 is going to be LF Super Baby 2. Let's move on to number 5. Okay, so coming in at number 5, we have Fusing Gogeta Blue. And this is, I know people are going to be very, very upset at this. I could have very easily have put this character higher up on my list and appeased, the players here. But this is my honest opinion. I'm not going to flub the rankings just because this is a very popular character. I know this is a very, very hype character. This is probably one of the single greatest and most hype releases ever in this game. I am content with them being number 5 on this list. I'm going to explain why I have them here, and you guys can feel free to disagree with me. Again, remember what I said at the beginning of this video. This is entirely based on my experience. You guys might have a completely different experience than me with using this character. Most of you guys probably aren't using this character at 14 stars against other 14-star characters. There's a lot of different factors that go into why I have them at number 5. So I'm just going to go through some of the reasons here about why I have them at number 5 on the list and why I don't have them higher, etc. So let's just start by talking about some of the positive aspects of this character. So first things first, I think they're actually a very, very strong character pre-fusion. They have constant green card generation, which allows them to chain their tag switch many, many times in a row. They have really decent vanish restoration mechanics with the switching, getting them their vanish back. And one thing that I actually am going to mention with this character, and I mentioned the same exact thing when we get to Super Vegeta later on in this video. One of the things that I am really impressed with this character and the Vegito character, both the 6th anniversary units, is they are not as reliant on card draw speed as basically every other character in the game. They draw a lot of their cards through forced card draw. And what I mean by forced card draw is when they enter the battlefield, they draw a card. When they use a green card, they draw a card. When they tag switch, they draw a card. So instead of relying on double card draw speed, triple card draw speed, whatever it is, they just generate cards with their abilities, which I really do like. It's kind of like a way for them to power creep like traditional card draw speed. And we now do have a lot of different characters that debuff card draw speed. So even if you're in a situation where like you're fighting against a character that maybe gives you like -2 card draw speed levels, this character is really not going to care about that as much as many other units because they just generate cards without needing to rely on card draw speed, which I think is really good. They have a really powerful key disrupt at half health. I think it's -70 key, I believe, is what it is when they hit 50% health, which obviously will activate mid-combo as well. Something that I really don't see many people talking about, and this is also going to carry over to the post-fusion version of this character as well, is they have really, really good bulk. This is a really tanky unit. The mechanic where they gain 15% reduced damage received against impact damage for 5 counts after using an arts card. You can actually, I didn't even realize you could do this when I was doing my initial breakdowns of this character, but it really is tangible once you get to use them. You can actually stack that effect up multiple times, and I've had a lot of instances where I'm like in full screen, I throw out a blast card, I get PV'd, and then I throw out like another card right away to stack this effect, and the opponent goes for like a blue card, and the blue card hits me for like almost no damage. So they are a really, really powerful defensive character. I would say that my issue and my issues with this character almost entirely lie with the fuse version of this character. So Gogeta Blue, once you fuse into Gogeta Blue, again, I would probably echo some of the things I talked about with their pre-fuse version, and one of the main reasons why is because they're actually, or once you fuse into Gogeta, he actually is one of the best defensive characters in the game. He is healing constantly, he has type neutrality defensively, he destroys blast cards on entry, so he does have disrupt, and he does maintain the same impact damage reduction mechanic that they have before fusing. So defensively, I think this is actually a really strong unit. But there are certain things that I really don't like about the fuse version. Number one, he doesn't draw a card on entry. That might not sound that important, not drawing a card on entry, but it really does matter because that would have helped his assault chain mechanic so much. If you aren't going to be spawning a card on entry, because remember, he is going to change the cards in his hand to strikes, or the blaster. He changes all blast cards to strikes when he hits the opponent with a strike or a blast for the first time. That really is the best way to be able to take advantage of Assault Chain. And I guess with that being said, we'll just immediately go into the Assault Chain portion of this. This is probably my biggest gripe with the character. I just really don't think Assault Chain is good enough. I am going to be very adamant about this. The entire gimmick of Fused Gogeta Blue is the Assault Chain mechanic, and it's his only way of getting Special Cover Change Nullification. It's his only way of getting it. He doesn't technically... I don't think he even technically gains Special Cover Change Nullification ever when he fuses with Gogeta. Right? Technically what you can do is you can tag out with Goku and Vegeta and then fuse into Gogeta. And if you still have a charge left of the Special Cover Change Nullification from the Switch ability, that can carry over to Gogeta Blue when you fuse with them, which is a pretty powerful effect. But Gogeta Blue himself, I don't think there's any way he actually gains Special Cover Change Nullification outside of his Assault Chain mechanic, because that's the whole purpose of the Assault Chain mechanic. I'm pretty sure, like, I don't want to make general statements like this that often, but I'm pretty sure that they just didn't fully playtest the Assault Chain mechanic before its implementation, because the fact that it has to be chained in right away and it can't be sidestepped or charge stepped into, like, that significantly reduces the power level of this character. I think it is pretty powerful that you can, Assault Chain your way into the gauge filling up, and you can go type neutral and you could draw more cards, but it's just not strong enough. The fact that you have to rely on the Assault Chain to get cover null, I think it's fine that he nullifies those like counter gauges. It's fine. I think I have two hot takes about this character that I'll go through here. Number one, I would rather this character, when they're fused into Gogeta Blue, I would rather they simply have cover nullification for 5 counts after using a strike or a blast card than the entire Assault Chain mechanic. If they deleted the Assault Chain mechanic and just gave Gogeta Blue cover nullification for 5 counts upon using a strike or a blast card, I would like that more, I'm pretty sure. That is the exact same Special Cover Change Nullification mechanic that Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan has. And a lot of characters have that. I think like Ultra Janemba has that too. I think like the Red Supreme Kai has that. I think his might be when you land a card, but it's pretty much the same thing. The lack of Special Cover Change Nullification, then the fact that you could only use that when you're chaining cards together, and chaining strike cards too, it's not good enough. It is not good enough. It would have made this character ridiculous, which I think is fine. But I think, again, they'd have to playtest this, but I think if they just made Assault Chain occur on every strike card, no matter what you were doing, I think that would have been better. It would have been fine. I think so. It's possible it would be too good, but I'm just telling you guys right now, the Assault Chain mechanic, I would consider to be a failure. I think they tried something different. I'm going to give them props for that. I am not a fan of the Assault Chain mechanic. I think so here's something else too. I hate the strike counter unique gauges. I hate Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan's unique gauge. I hate Ultra UI Goku's unique gauge. I hate Ultra Janemba's unique gauge. I've never been a fan of those auto gauges. I'm not saying that Assault Chain is not good enough because I like those gauges. I'm saying it because I don't like those gauges, and we need a way to deal with them, and this was not a good enough way to deal with them. That's the conclusion to what I'm saying about Assault Chain. And then the other hot take that I have is, I think this might be crazy to some people, but I think the pre-fuse version of this character is, in a lot of instances, just straight up better than the fuse version of this character. It makes sense to fuse into Gogeta to get the heal in a lot of cases. And I also think Gogeta is probably better than Goku and Vegeta once you've gotten all the cover null charges from the switch ability. Remember, they only get 2 charges of cover nullification every time they use each side's switch ability. But when you look at it from all the different mechanics that both forms of this character has, and you use this character enough times to really understand what they're doing, and you get like a better feel and sense for how the character operates, it really feels like in certain instances you would just simply rather continue fighting with Goku and Vegeta as opposed to Gogeta. At least that's how I feel in a lot of cases, which I don't like that. I think the fused version of this character, like, and this is probably just going to go for every character that uses the Synchro Gauge moving forward. I would rather every character post-fusion, post-Synchro Gauge usage, I would rather they all just be better, period, than the pre-Synchro Gauge version of the character. There's no reason for there to be like situationally, actually, the pre-Synchro Gauge version is better. Like, I don't think that needs to be a thing. I don't think there needs to be certain situations where like the pre-fused versions of characters are better, because it makes no sense thematically. That's not how the world of Dragon Ball works. You don't fuse and then become worse. So those are two hot takes I have about Gogeta, and you guys can let me know what you think about that, what those things are. I think they needed to... I actually have no problems at all with the Goku and Vegeta side of this character. I would actually... The Goku and Vegeta side of this character alone is why this character is at number 5 on this list. If the Goku and Vegeta side were worse, that would be the dictating factor as to if they would maybe potentially even move down on this list. They needed to make the assault chain mechanic better, and I think in that way, Gogeta would have been better, and these guys would have been higher on this list, but... I really, the assault chain mechanic needed to be better. It needed to be better to give us ways of punishing those counter gauges. It needed to be better because you can't charge or sidestep into strike cards, which is like the main... We've been charged and sidestepping in this game since day one, basically, since pre-first anniversary. There are certain instances where I would say not charge stepping and just going right away is the correct thing to do for some characters. But to have it be like the main thing that Gogeta wants to do, it needed to either be better or they needed to change the way the mechanic functioned. That's it. It's just not good enough. It's not good. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. So I guess a TLDR that I'll put in here as to like a summarization of why I don't like the assault chain mechanic and why I think it's not good enough is because it really just comes down to cover nullification, special cover change nullification, because that is, again, I'll reiterate, his only way of getting special cover change nullification is by using the assault chain ability, which essentially means you are not sidestepping and you're not charge stepping. In 2024, June, we're halfway through 2024. I mean, we are dictating you must just click all your strike cards in a row to get special cover change nullification when this is a 6th anniversary character. This is the headlining character of the 6th anniversary, and he has no way of getting special cover change nullification outside of chaining your cards together. I'm sorry, that's not good enough. That's just not good enough. And then a last point that I have, just wanted to say as well, that in the Gogeta state, I'm really not a fan of his green card since it can't be chained into Assault Chain, right? You can't chain his green card into Assault Chain, because if you, let's just say you green card and then the opponent switches into like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan or something, if you only have a strike in your hand, like you can't attack. So stupid. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Gogeta Blue. I think, again, the pre-fused version Goku and Vegeta are very, very strong. They're probably the highlight of the character for me, and I think Gogeta Blue should have been better. Assault Chain should have been better, and then at that point the character would have been ranked higher. But that's just what I think. Let's move on to number 4 on the list. All right, we just spent like 12 minutes talking about Gogeta, so I'm not gonna try and spend too much time on UI. You guys know how this character works. He's a very safe option for pretty much any team. Like, you could honestly just throw this guy in leader for like any team and he'll be good. He'll help you win. The anti-cover change mechanic is still really busted. I think the lack of red characters now, Super 17 is kind of not fallen off, but he's definitely, being seen less now, definitely helps this guy a little bit. And the fact that Sun Family is just continuing to get buff after buff after buff, I think the best Sun Family version right now is this Goku, Ultra Gohan, and Vegito. I think that's the best Sun Family team right now, and it's just super, super annoying to fight. You have a yellow, green, and blue, which is like a perfect color team. A lot of those characters just cover each other's weaknesses. This guy with his gauge, Gohan with his gauge, Vegeta with his offensive power and the combo potential. That team is just really, really good. UI Goku is just, he's aging really well because of his gauge, because of his sub-count manipulation, because of his green card generation, the ability to combo that with Gohan. It almost kind of feels like we graduated from like the Goku and Bardock plus UI team to Goku and Bardock have sort of fulfilled their purpose, and now we move on to UI Goku plus Ultra Gohan, which is the same thing, right? The same premise behind the team. The only reason why I think Goku and Bardock plus UI Goku was so oppressive is because UI Goku generates a green card when he dodges for the first time. In fact, it might be for the first 2 times or so. So what you would do is you generate a green card with UI, you would just go into Goku and Bardock, and you would just green card people, and you would combo forever. Well, now you can do it with Gohan. Gohan also as an AoE green card, and Gohan's AoE green card is better than Goku and Bardock's because it doesn't have a long animation. So that's a really annoying team. We of course have again Vegito on this team as well, and I feel like UI Goku just pairs up really well with those units. It's just Sun Family, Dragon Ball Legends Sun Family is what we've been doing for the past like 7 months now. So I don't really see this character falling off anytime soon unless we start to get like some really, really broken red characters. Sorry, not purple, red characters who do some stupid things like locking in or some stuff like that. So we'll see. I don't really see an argument to have this guy lower than this. I mean, he's just really, really broken still. Just really broken, really annoying, and really easy to use. You just kind of don't touch the screen. And you get value out of him. So I have Ultra UI Goku at number 4. I really was rooting for Gogeta Blue to take the spot from him, but I can't. I will be honest with you guys. I initially did have Gogeta Blue as a 4/5 shared spot with this character, and I knew they weren't as good as this guy. I knew this guy right now in this meta is more valuable than Gogeta is. But I really wanted to believe. that Gogeta and this guy could stand on even footing. But as I played more, as I saw people using this guy way more, like this guy, I think in my experience, I'm now in God rank again. And I've been fighting more good players recently. And this guy is, I would say, significantly more widely used in God rank, at least in Japan, than Gogeta is. Because I think people are starting to realize that Gogeta is not as good as this guy right now. I had to separate the rankings. Just because I don't want to be like somebody who just follows what the community wants. Like I could put Gogeta higher on the list. I could do it. I could do it just for the sake of appeasing, people watching this video. But this is, in my opinion, the more accurate ranking. So UI Goku at number 4. Let's move on to the number 3 spot here. Okay, so for spots 1, 2, and 3, I am going to do a shared 1, 2, and 3 spot for all 3 of these characters. We have fusing Goku and Vegeta into Super Vegito. We have Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and then we have Ultra Golden Frieza. I don't feel comfortable picking one character as 1, one character as 2, and one character as 3 because they kind of all feel that they have compelling arguments for each character to be in any of those spots. So this to me makes the most sense. Again, when we talk about spot number 4, I originally had Gogeta and UI Goku sharing that spot. I separated them because I think that's the correct ranking. I really do think there's a separation there. For these spots, I don't really think there's a separation. I think you could make an argument for each of these characters to be 1 or 2 or 3. If you were to ask me which of these 3 characters I think is going to age the best and which of these 3 characters I think has the best individual kit, I would say Golden Frieza. I think the comeback mechanic is way too strong. I think he just does way too much damage. He's able to pretty much handle everything by himself. You could kind of say the same thing for Gohan, but it's even more so of a thing that Frieza does better. It's just the comeback is just so ridiculous. And the thing that I see a lot of people not really fully understanding about something that I think you could make an argument that separates the Ultras from Vegito even, is the fact that you don't have to be worried to initiate with Gohan and Frieza. It's even more so of a thing with Frieza, because Frieza gets, like with Gohan, if you go for an arts card and the opponent rushes you, you at least know you have endurance there. Now, there are characters like Vegito and, Ultra Vegito Blue and Gogeta Blue who can rush and nullify Gohan's endurance, but they can't do that against Frieza. With Frieza, if you have that comeback mechanic still in your back pocket, you don't have to be afraid to go for initiative attacks at all. And with a character like Vegito, with a character that doesn't have endurance or revival or a comeback, there's always that fear in the back of your mind that whenever you go for any kind of attack, you can be Rising Rushed. And when you're talking about God rank fights, when you're talking about 14-star characters, people that really know how to play the game, people that really know what they're doing, they know exactly when to attack, when not to attack, when to have the Rising Rush button ready. It becomes a lot more of an issue when you're fighting the best players. And that definitely is an advantage I would give to both Gohan and Frieza. The thing that I've seen a lot of people say, like, oh, Frieza's comeback has gained a lot, or has lost a lot more value recently because of the fact that you can just fuse off of it and it does no damage. So the comeback is now worthless. Let me just remind you that I would say 90% of the value of the comeback mechanic is the fact that it is a better revive. It is not the damage that comes with it. I would say the damage from the comeback mechanic is just it's just a side effect. It's just it's a perk that comes with it. It is a better revive because you do not get punished in any way for your opponent activating the comeback. And there are not a lot of characters we could say about that for revive. Like, revive couldn't get punished now, right? Vegito has a very strong anti-revive mechanic. 50% permanent uncancelable damage plus 2 Dragon Balls. That's pretty good. That is very strong. When Vegito pops Frieza's comeback, all he does is take 60, 70, 80% of his health, and then Frieza comes back with basically a second life. Right? So I don't really buy the whole, Goku and Vegeta can now fuse and heal to full health and now comeback is worthless argument, because that wasn't the full value of the comeback. That wasn't the main amount of value from the comeback mechanic to begin with, regardless. And I think just from a pure damage perspective as well, Frieza his damage is on a different level compared to these characters. So from a pure individual perspective, I would say that Frieza has the best set of abilities, the best set of mechanics out of any character in the game right now, even after the 6th anniversary Part 1 characters have come out. But when it comes to teams, when it comes to functionality, when it comes to how valuable and how well his team, these characters' teams work in the current meta environment, I would give the advantage to Gohan. I would give the advantage to Vegito because of the Sun Family team that I just talked about in the UI Goku section. I think Vegito, Gohan, and UI Goku is probably the best team in the game, and I don't even think it's particularly close. You potentially could replace UI with Gogeta Blue, but I think UI, just the fact that his gauge as UI is kind of like the third character on the team, right? UI is the third best character on that team. I would say Gogeta Blue would be the third best character on the team if you replace UI with him. UI as a third character on the team works a lot better because of the utility that you get with the evasion gauge that he has. You have that, you have sub count reduction, and I think overall he's just a more annoying character to deal with. He has the lock-in, which can snipe a character out, which Gogeta can't do early on. So that team, I mean, I don't really see many other teams really touching that setup. Sun Family with Vegito, Gohan, and Ultra UI. That is just... That is a loser team, man. But it is the best, I would say. It is a loser team, but it is like the best team. Vegito himself, I think, again, when we're talking about just the Goku and Vegeta versions, you could actually make an argument, I think, that Gogeta pre-fusion potentially is better than the Vegito pre-fusion. I think Gogeta... they are able to spawn more greens. I think they get their vanish back. They have, I don't know if I would call it a better disrupt. They just have a different disrupt mechanic than Vegito. Vegito has card destruction while Gogeta has key reduction. I think Vegeto's disrupt's probably a little better. But I think where the Goku and Vegeta side of the Gogeta character probably eclipse the Goku and Vegeta side of the Vegito version is they have the better defensive mechanics. They have the arts, the impact damage reduction mechanic whenever they use an arts card. That is actually I don't see anybody talking about that. That is a very powerful mechanic. The thing with Vegito, though, is I feel like you're able to more easily get Vegito out more consistently. I think the fusion on average, if you compare what is the average amount of time it takes to get Vegito out versus Gogeta? For me, at least, it feels like Vegito is easier to get out. The Dragon Ball thing is really strong as well. The fact that they can't have their Dragon Balls destroyed pretty much ever. I've gotten Rising Rushes in 15 counts with this character. It's kind of crazy. And then, of course, when you get Vegito out, you pretty much Rising Rush and don't worry about anything, because even if your opponent goes to a revival unit, you get permanent buffs and more Dragon Balls from it. Unless they're using Frieza, I guess. Frieza's like the only character that doesn't really care about Vegito's Rush. Yeah, but Vegito's insane. Like, Transform Fuse Vegito is kind of like the only character that feels on like a competitive level in terms of how much damage they deal to Frieza. Like, Frieza fully juiced up and powered up feels similar in terms of how strong he is offensively to Fuse Vegito on like a really good setup. So I feel like they're pretty similar. I mean, there's not much of a gap between them, which is why I have these slots as shared between the three characters, Frieza, Vegito, and Gohan. You guys don't need me to go into length about Gohan. You guys know how he works. I think one of the things, I guess the only thing I'll talk about with Gohan is something that not a lot of people mention. You know, we could talk about his AoE green card. We could talk about his counter blue card. We could talk about his counter gauge. I don't really see many people ever complaining about Gohan's armor break blast cards. Here's the thing to remember about this. Nobody ever talks about this. He holds 2 armor break blast cards that nullify enemy armor characteristics. That means not only can Gohan use these cards, any character on the team can use these cards. I find that this armor break mechanic is one of the worst mechanics I've ever introduced, and the main reason why is because they were under some presumption that they could just introduce some new icon. Oh, we changed the exclamation point, so now you know when it's going to be an armor break. You don't have enough time to react to that. Okay, you don't have time to sit there in mid-range or even long range and notice the exclamation point, process in your head that it's a different symbol than normal, and then at that point you're like, oh, it's actually an armor break card, let me vanish instead of going for a strike card. Like, you have to assume that every single blast card in the match that Gohan is in is going to be an armor break card, and he basically, just by existing, renders your blast armor as useless in the entire match. So I really don't like that, because I think it's just bad game design that you can't have an opportunity to differentiate between when it's a armor break and when it's not an armor break card. Technically, you could say that gives Gogeta a bit more value, because Gogeta's blue card has anti blast card armor on it. It's not even armor; it's just anti blast card. So armor break doesn't even work against Gogeta's blue card. So Gogeta's blue card technically is anti blast armor. I don't know; it's getting ridiculous at this point, but. That armor break mechanic is just so stupid, because it actually does function as a support mechanic. Gohan is supporting the team with the ability for everybody to use armor break. It's kind of crazy. But he works really well on that team. I think I mentioned this in the UI portion as well, but the color wheel of that team, green, blue, and yellow, like, we'll see what part 2 brings. I'm kind of hoping that part 2 has some kind of villain in there. I would really not like to see another Sun family character. I know people have been talking about like Goku and Gohan from the Cell Saga. We need something besides Sun family, man. It's just, Sun family is the best team right now. I don't really think there's any arguing against it. Fusion Warriors, you can, I guess, kind of talk about. I don't know. Sun family's number 1, man. It's the way it is. It's the way it's been for 7 months now. I would like to see something else for part 2. But anyway, this is going to be the conclusion of my top 10. This is probably a longer video at this point. I've been talking for a while now. We'll quickly go through the rankings just to recap here. So honorable mentions, I had Blue Yamcha, we had Goku and Bardock, and we had the new green Fury Broly. Number 10 / number 9, I had GT Spirit Bomb Goku and green Revival Pikkon into Super Gogeta. Number 8, I had Vegeta and Nappa who revives into Vegeta. Number 7, I had LF Super 17. Number 6, I had LF Super Baby 2. Number 5, I had the Fusing Blue Gogeta 6th Anniversary character. Number 4, I had Ultra UI Sign Goku. And then number 1, 2, and 3 were a shared spot on the list. We have Ultra Golden Frieza, Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and Fusing Goku and Vegeta into Super Vegito, another 6th Anniversary character. Let me know down below what you guys think of these placements. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.